Surprise! I'm back! Yeah, Prince iPal. This is called Prince iPal Science. I got together with Principal Science and we have a great program for you. Got some great things coming on up. All right, Principal Science here on this episode, our first episode of Prince iPal Science. Gosh, that's hard to say. Prince iPal is going to read one of his favorite stories from Robert Munsch. He's going to talk a little bit about mindset and having a positive mindset. And I have a great science demonstration for you, as well as science vocabulary, and introduce you to a new science. So enjoy the first ever episode of Prince iPal Science. Prince iPal here, talking mindset. Success is a state of mind. If you see yourself as successful, if you think of yourself successful, you will be successful. So the way to be successful is get in your mindset that you are successful, that you can do it. Success is a state of mind. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Ooh, think about that. That's deep. All right, Principal Science, mindset.
This day in 1891, U.S. President Benjamin Harrison, who was in office from 1889 to 1893, had the first electric lights installed in the White House. Lights were first installed in the White House on this day in 1891. This is John Gorrie. John Gorrie received a patent that improved the process for making ice. This is pretty important for us that live in the desert, and now that it's pretty much over 100 degrees every day. But our scientist of the day is John Gorrie, who improved the process for creating ice. Kind of random, but fun.
Scientists say tundra. The tundra is a cold ecosystem usually found in the far north. It doesn't have tall trees because deep areas of the ground remain frozen all year round, making it difficult for tall trees to sink their roots deeply into the soil. Anything that lives here will experience very cold weather and very little sunlight throughout most of the year. But when the sun finally rises, grasses, shrubs, and even very tiny trees can grow.
Science here, reading my favorite author, Robert Munsch of all time, David's Father. Okay, this is really cool. So, found this book in our library because I left mine at home. All right, David's Father. Julie was skipping home from school. She came to a large moving van. A man came out carrying a spoon, only it was as big as a shovel. Another man came out carrying a fork, only it was as big as a pitchfork. A third man came out carrying a knife, only it was as big as a flagpole. Yikes, said Julie. I don't want to get to know these people at all. She ran all the way home and hid under her bed until dinner time. It's kind of scary. The next day, Julie was skipping home from school. Again, a boy was standing there with the moving van had been. He said, "Hi, my name's David. Would you like to come and play?" Julie looked at him very carefully. He seemed to be a regular sort of boy, so she stayed to play. At 5 o'clock, from far away down the street, someone called, "Julie, come and eat." "That's my father," said Julie. Then someone called, "David!" "That's my father," said David. Julie jumped in the air, ran around in a circle 3 times, ran home, locked herself in her room till it was time for breakfast the next morning. Oh my, she skipped dinner. The next day, Julie was skipping home and she saw David again. He said, "Hi, Julie, do you want to come and play?" Julie looked at him very, very carefully. He seemed to be a regular boy, so she stayed and played. When it was almost 5 o'clock, David said, "Julie, please stay for dinner." But Julie remembered the big knife, the big fork, and the big spoon. "Well, I don't know," she said. "Maybe it's a bad idea. I think maybe, no. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye." "Well," said David, "we have cheeseburgers, chocolate milkshakes, and a salad." "Ooh," said Julie, "I do love me a cheeseburger. I'll stay. I'll stay." She went into the kitchen. There was a small table with cheeseburgers, milkshakes, and salads. On the other side of the room, there was an enormous table. On it was a spoon as big as a shovel, a fork as big as a pitchfork, a knife as big as a flagpole. David whispered, "Julie, who sits there?" "Oh," said David, "that's where my father sits. You can hear him coming now." David's father sounded like this. He opened the door. David's father was a giant. Oh, on his table, there were 26 snails, 3 fried octopus, and 16 bricks covered with chocolate. Yuck. And ow. David, said Julie. David and Julie ate their cheeseburgers, and the father ate the snails. David and Julie drank their milkshakes, and their father ate the fried octopuses. David and Julie ate their salads, and their father ate the chocolate-covered bricks. Ouch. Wonder what Dr. Freitag would say about eating bricks. David's father asked Julie if she would like a snail, and Julie said no. David's father asked if she would like an octopus, and Julie said no. David's father asked if she would like a delicious chocolate-covered brick, and Julie said no. But please, may I have another milkshake? So David's father made her another milkshake. Well, he seems like a very nice father. When they were done, Julie said very softly so the father couldn't hear him, David, you don't look very much like your father. Well, I'm adopted, said David. Oh, said Julie. Do you like your father? He's great, said Julie. Come for a walk and see. So they walked down the street, and Julie and David skipped, and the father went. They came to a road, and they couldn't get across. The cars would not stop for David. The cars would not stop for Julie. The father walked into the middle of the road, looked at the cars, and yelled, "Stop!" The cars all jumped in the air, ran around in a circle 3 times, and went back up the street so fast they forgot their tires. Just curious. I mean, David's dad ate bricks. I'm wondering if he would eat tires. Julie and David crossed the street and went into a store. The man who ran the store didn't like serving kids. They waited 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Then David's father came in. He looked at the storekeeper and said, "These kids are my friends." The man jumped in the air, ran around the store 3 times, and gave David and Julie 3 boxes of ice cream, 11 bags of potato chips, 19 Lifesavers, all for free. Julie and David walked down the street and went around the bend. The storekeeper wasn't very nice, but, you know. Okay. There were 6 big kids from 8th grade standing in the middle of the sidewalk. They looked at David. They looked at Julie, and they looked at the food. Then one big kid reached down and grabbed a box of ice cream. David's father came around the bend and looked at the kids and yelled, "Beat it!" They jumped right out of their shirts. They jumped right out of their pants, and they ran down the street in their underwear. Julie ran after them, but she slipped and scraped her elbow. David's father picked her up and held her. Then he put a special giant Band-Aid on her elbow. Julie said, "Well, David did say you were a very nice father after all, but he's still kind of scary." "You think he's scary," said David. "Wait till you meet my grandmother." She's been in quarantine. David's father, hope you enjoyed. I love me some Robert Munsch. Have you ever wondered how a parachute works? Because I'd never jump out of a plane. That doesn't make sense to me. But I thought if I did, how does a parachute work? Have you ever wondered? I have. Let's find out how.
How does a parachute work? A parachute is a device used to slow down an object that is falling towards the ground. There are 2 forces acting on the falling person: gravity and air resistance. Here, the gravity is more than the air resistance. As the parachute opens, the air resistance increases. Now the air resistance is more than the gravity. This slows down the person in the parachute, and the person can land safely on the ground. That's how a parachute works. Very interesting. I never knew.
That's all for now. Hope you enjoyed. See you tomorrow.